Skill tree, do the intro.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to Skill Tree. We learn how to do just about everything. Today, we're making a camp out of garbage we find. Greetings, adventurers. Welcome to Skill Tree, where we learn how to do
just about everything.
Today, we're going to be talking about our adventures in Conquest of Mythodia, the largest LARP in the world. Before we start with anything, really quick shout out to Berg Snyder, who is the one who throws this event and kind of helped us go there and get everything together. They sell all types of like LARP and medieval equipment, so yeah, check them out. Link in the description below.
They have a special discount code for our community that gives a blanket 15% off if you just use the code.
So yeah, check that out. Great way to help this channel, and again, to support Berg Snyder because they're pretty awesome.
And they use the money to run amazing events. So this year, we actually ended up doing things a little bit differently when it came to Conquest. Last year, we very much had like the experience. We saw the big moments, we lived the life. This year, we wanted to run a camp. So we decided to go in with new characters that are kind of curated to running a camp.
Yeah, like specific, like fae beings who have powers and stuff, mostly to facilitate like other people coming and joining us. Though before we talk about our characters, there's always a significant portion of you who are mad that we don't show off our characters, so
we should get into character.
Yeah, cool. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Behold!
We are fae creatures!
We are fae creatures. My character's name is Fox.
And I am Crow, as you can probably tell from the feathers.
So, real quick and dirty, our fae creature characters are from a world where magic has basically died, and we find ourselves now in the world of Conquest.
Mitrospira. That was bad.
That's fine.
Mitrospira! So, because in the world where we came from, magic basically died, in our type of fae, we live off magic, we had to find a way to, you know, live and breathe.
Yeah, right.
So we discovered how to get magic from stories.
Yeah, just kind of like that little kernel of belief you have. Like, even if you tell a horror story and you know it's not real, you still have to, like, check behind your back a little bit or something, right? It's just that little bit of belief. We feed on it. The community started calling us story vampires, which is not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically every single person we tell a story to. Like, we own the story at that point, so every person who little bit believes in it, we get that little bit of magic.
So, real quick though, on like the creation of our characters. That's kind of like the motivation and stuff, and we went ahead and kind of role-played a little bit to try to get into character.
We got really overexcited as soon as we started actually planning out our costume.
Yeah, I think we got real deep into it.
I decided that we should have contacts.
My eyes are purple right now.
Mine were supposed to be bright yellow or bright orange, but they dried out. The case leaked on the flight over, so they dried out, so I had to use the gray ones instead. We got very excited. We looked up contacts. We found the best contacts that have ever existed.
I've been wearing contacts for a little bit. Like, I usually see me in glasses just because it's more comfortable down here. Contacts in general really suck in my eyes. I've tried so many different ones, and these ones, these damn like purple costume ones, are the most comfortable contacts I've ever had. We don't get anything for them, but I'll leave a link in the description below. They are fantastic. I wore them all day, no irritation at all.
Yeah, before mine dried out, no fault of my own, I'm sure. They were...
Wait, she had 2 sets and both of them dried out. So like, I'm gonna say it's your fault.
I think the case is broken.
Anyways.
So yeah, I've been wearing contacts since I was like 12. So I'm very used to contacts, and they're real comfortable.
They're real good. Yeah, here's a picture over her face of what she looked like with those contacts.
So just imagine me with them for all the pictures you see of my character, because that's what I'm going to be next year, and everything else is a lie. Another thing that we did, which I was very excited about, is we went and got our nails done right before. You'll notice that our nails are short right now, is because as soon as we were home, we cut them off.
As soon as we were home.
As soon as we were home. But right before we went and got extensions put on our nails, and we have pictures of them. And it's the first time that either of us have had extensions, and it was so funny watching both of us try to learn how to function, and they weren't even that long.
Nothing but respect to all you who have long nails. Man, I don't know how you do the most basic stuff in your life. Trying to put my contacts on was a harrowing journey. Trying to like push random buttons. I've tried to grab things and my finger slides off and the nail hits it, and it is the most painful experience of my friggin' life.
Acrylic with dip on top. He, the first day before even getting into character, broke a nail opening a jar.
I was such a damsel in distress. I'm like trying to open this jar and I slip and I break the nail. And immediately, one, it was very painful. And two, I was like, oh my God, I broke a nail. And immediately the girl sitting next to me grabs the jar, just pops it open and gives me a look like. But also, kind of the name of the game when we're talking about our design was looking not human.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do like the pointy ear vibe or whatever, especially because I have fairly new piercings here, and that would...
They're so mad.
They're so upset with me. Wouldn't have been a thing. But yeah, no, we didn't want to do the pointy ears, so we did like face makeup to kind of talk about like our...
I did so much research into makeup. I don't know how to do makeup, but I did this. So yeah, basically, we were magical, wonderful fae.
We were at least magical.
Yeah.
I'll go light on the wonderful. That sets the scene. That's why our creatures are in the world. That's the kind of our motivation. We want to spread those stories. That's why we look
like
how we look. Yeah, we want to spread stories like a cancer. So that brings us to like coming into this world. So we're genuinely scared out of our friggin' minds because one, like there's the standard stuff. We're about to go act basically in front of a bunch of people. You're in a foreign country. You don't really speak the language, so everybody's really good about that there. It's all those nerves. And then it's the fact that we are responsible for 50 people.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little something about how we opened up our camp for the first time. This is the first time we've ever run a camp, which by the way, organizing a camp that's going to take place in a different country is fun.
Super shout out to both Maddie and Callie for helping. And also Greb for helping in there too.
Spreadsheets.
So many spreadsheets. They really pulled that together.
So basically, we organized the whole camp without being in the country it was going to take place at. Ordered all of the things that we would need to run the camp, decorate the camp, everything the camp. Made a bunch of spreadsheets and also like layouts of the camp. And then in the middle of all that, we expected like 30-something people to go. And we never really told anyone that our limit was 50. Until we crossed 50. We're like,
oh no!
Oh no! So then we set the limit to 60 because we were like, we can't just like close it and not like all of a sudden in case it catches people off guard.
Talking to the game runners, we're expecting maybe between 25 and 30. We'll say like 50 maximum, and that's where we have to hard shut it off because I'm not even sure we can handle that many people. And we're in a meeting. We're like, oh, how many people are there now, by the way? And she goes, oh no.
Some people had to drop out. We ended up around 52 for the entire camp.
Yep.
But still,
So,
we got to like 50 people the first time we ran the camp.
We're responsible for around 50 people. We get there to set up, and more than half of the things we ordered, they're not there.
Which is a special pain for me because as we just mentioned, the spreadsheets, the planning, the months of planning.
And I gotta tell you what, like the designs we had for it, like you're walking into it and there's like light poles going throughout our little tent neighborhood. There's all these like cool foliage, really fave. Think like, what did we search for it? Like
we searched for
fairy wedding.
magic forest wedding.
Yeah, search for that on Instagram.
And that's
You'll
what
get
our
kind of
camp
a
was
vibe.
supposed to look like.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that big data glitch that happened broke the website, and more than half, about 3/4 the stuff we ordered didn't show up, which was fun to find out.
Yeah, as everybody's coming and expecting, like, we really want to give somebody a nice time, and we're like, oh no, like, the vibe is a big part of it. So, first of all, you're all watching this show. Odds are you like a certain kind of craftiness and pulling stuff out of nowhere, kind of whatever. This group,
They saw.
Incredible.
We were like, we're so sorry. This is the issue we're having. And they're like, bet. And they took it as a challenge. They went into the woods, and for the next entire day, because like the woods are protected, so you can't take anything living. So they scavenged for branches that had fallen down.
Trees and stuff.
We have some video of just all of them like collecting branches and slowly bringing them back to camp so they can decorate the camp with it. And we go to lunch. They're putting up branches. We're like, oh, I hope they don't like fall down and hurt themselves. And we come back.
And it was gorgeous. I'm hoping that we have footage of the front. I took some pictures of the front, but it doesn't do it any kind of justice.
It was better than anything that we would have made with the decorations.
100%. All of the branches, they tied them up in this kind of intricate pattern. They even had it so that at the edges of it the branches like turned and dived into the ground. It was the most beautiful. I want the front of my house to look like what they ramshackled together in a few hours. It came out incredible. And then they went further than that and they pulled together, they had all brought like decor kind of stuff.
For their tents.
Yeah, like hanging vines and pretty flowers and stuff.
They stretched it over the entire camp.
It looked way better than we had any right to be able to pull that together and look after losing the vast majority of what we had planned.
It was basically like those heist movies where they're like, what do we got? I got this paperclip, this chewing gum, and this random bit of string. And it's like, got it, let's build a bomb.
Like that was the beginning of what would end up being kind of the theme of the camp, in that like everybody just friggin' clicked. You'd think with that many people kind of stuck in one smaller spot or whatever, there's bound to be some kind of little drama or some kind of like people not getting along. I didn't catch a whisper of people not getting along. Yeah, we were even warned
going in. Like, we were given a lot of tips on how to deal with interpersonal conflict with leading a camp and stuff. And then we got there, and everyone was just happy as roses.
Yeah, any little thing that might have gone wrong was like, challenge, let's do.
Challenge accepted.
It was, all you, like, made that camp. Absolutely. Oh, man, it was stressful at first for us, but once we realized how much it wasn't so much, and it's kind of what we wanted anyways, it wasn't so much that we are running a camp. It's that we kind of like facilitated people being able to get there or be together. And after that, the camp, we all ran it together. Like it was very much a group effort. Huge shout out to everybody, all of our Dendronia people.
Dendronians.
Dendronia!
Which is the name of
yeah, we're in case you were real confused.
Which is a really random word. Dendronia. So the game in happens late the next day. So there's still like a lot of prep and stuff, but the night before there's a glow stick party, which is basically like an outdoor rave where they hand out a bunch of glow sticks and everyone just parties.
It's a rave.
It's a rave.
It's an outside rave.
I had all of this makeup that I hadn't had a lot of time to practice with, and I knew the game was starting the next day. So I was like, who wants to help me practice? And some people volunteered. And maybe the girlfriend of some people told me to paint him like a sad clown. And maybe that started a trend where I painted a lot of people like clowns, except for one precious, my precious boy. My precious green boy.
Like Hulk Squidward?
No, it was like the green giant Squidward. I forget. I think it was just like handsome Squidward but green.
Yeah, man. Like
he had amazing cheekbones.
The cheekbones were what was up. I want you to look at I want you to look at the meme of this clown's face. Ready? Now.
I have never made anything in my life that I am more proud of than this moment.
I want to tell you how disturbing it was because
it was
like
so bad.
The dude he played Ark, which we'll talk about later because Ark's the jam. He's such a good sport, but like
expression.
He's super friendly, and like as he's laughing and kind of talking with us afterwards, because of those damn eyebrows stuff.
Every expression
was so concerned, and what like everything he had this look.
We made one a very happy clown, which ended up just looking manically like insane. Every
disturbing.
Expression.
Yeah.
One a sad clown, which no matter what expression he made, he was some form of like violently like concerned. And then we made one an angry clown.
The best one was when he'd be like laughing or something. Like his mouth is saying he's having fun, but his eyes were so concerned.
His eyes are screaming, "Help me!"
His girlfriend Alice was the angry clown. And at one point, I asked her a question, and she turns to me and she's got angry eyes, and she looks so mad. And then his head pokes around, and he's got the most concerned eyes, like, "Oh no, you didn't just say that to her." Like it was just like, I friggin' died. It was so funny.
I swear, every time that he just looked at you, it was.
Oh my God.
We just died.
It was the funniest stuff ever.
And then we sent them to the rave.
Yeah, go to the rave, my children. So next day comes after all of that friggin' madness. Everybody's rushing to put their costume on. Everybody's putting like makeup on.
I was putting on everyone's makeup. I don't know why they trusted me to do that
after the clown conspiracy. But we're going and we're running like right up against the clock. We didn't have a lot of experience with what we were going to be wearing. I packed. She did good.
Okay, no, I'll tell this part. So I had a really big suitcase, which was gonna be all of our costume stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. One side can be my stuff. One side can be his stuff.
Sure.
What ended up was one side was his stuff. 3/4 of the other side was his stuff.
Yeah.
And then 1/4 of the other side was my stuff.
And then 2 other bags were my stuff.
2 other bags.
In my defense, one of those bags was mostly armor.
No. When we packed up on the way back, I fit all of his armor in that big bag with still the same amount of stuff.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. We went to our storage area that has like any costume items we have. And I still didn't have a good concept of what this character was gonna be. So
he just took everything.
Anything that I thought was even a whisper. Oh, I didn't wear half the stuff I brought. I was like this for sure.
He wore like 2 shirts and like 2 pairs of pants.
Yeah.
He brought like 15.
I really did. Just way more crap than any human being could possibly need.
So, next time, we're gonna bring less bags, right?
Anyways, so we're getting ready and we are like right up against the time limit of like time in is starting. And right after time in starts, there's a battle. It's just a thing that happens. We all go to war. There's 10,000 people marching to war, which is just a trip to behold. She's still like getting her stuff ready and camp is rocked and like
from everyone getting their stuff ready.
So she's like, all right, you go to war, I'll clean up. Like, oh honey, you go to war, I'll clean up here, right?
Don't worry, honey. I'll clean up camp. Go on to war now.
I'll tell my story at war, and then you can tell your very excited camp story. So we roll up, and again, it's like all of Dendronia, and we're marching, and I'm in front being general person, and I have no idea what I'm doing. But like, our people held together really, really, really well. They jumped up. We were in like the front lines fighting. Our little shield wall was there. Our people were really good at like staying close together and defending each other. It was good, except the fact that like we were 100% one out armed. Everybody in front of us also had shields and had long ass spears, and we're all have like, I had 2 daggers that I was fighting with. We were not prepared for that. And then it was also the fact that once you're in, it's really interesting to see from almost like a real life military kind of thing. You've got a front line of people and you've got all these other skirmishes coming or whatever, and the people on either side of you that are also from other groups that are kind of defending your flanks, they'll see a shiny across the field and they'll run that way to go help somebody else. And you're completely undefended on this side. So like, we're constantly trying to fix this. Meanwhile,
like doing the backwards shuffle, trying to keep your flanks covered.
We're losing people because they're getting injured, and you have to go to the healers and be healed. And if at a certain point you're injured so much, you can't come back. So we lost our entire shield wall. But it's one of the best stories, the best scenes, like epic cinematic scenes that I went through this whole time. Somebody called me out for a one-on-one fight, which happens. Once you're called out for a one-on-one fight, everybody else backs away. The fighting right near you stops, and everybody just kind of beats their shield and watches you like 2 champions fighting each other. And it was a really good fight. I was fighting, he had a shield and a sword, I had my 2 friggin' daggers. But the fight lasted a while, and then finally, like, he got the better of me, and I'm downed. All of a sudden, I just feel like hands on me, and they're pulling me back the wrong way. I figured it was my people pulling me. They're pulling me further into the enemy's lines. And they do a thing that happened to you last year, where they'll possess you. And if they possess you, you basically are then sent to go fight your own people, and they have to like put you down before you hurt any of your own people or whatever. So I get to their like witch doctor person or whatever, and he grabs my face and he's like, you know, what is your name? I'm Ramirez. We'll get to Ramirez soon. I'm like, Fox. He's like, is that your true name? I'm like, yeah, because he's like casting a spell. Hopefully I find a picture I can flash her up here. One of our players, she won our level up LARP competition, by the way. She's one of the winners of our level up LARP competition. All the armor she's wearing is like stuff she's made. But she's not a big person. She's
smaller than me.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there on my knees with this thing around me.
Behind a line of like
shields.
Viking shields.
Yeah, and like a little space opens up, and out of nowhere,
like a Valkyrie.
Like a friggin' Valkyrie. She bursts through the shield line.
With just like a normal sword.
It turns out it was like a little thing.
Oh yeah, I remember, she showed it to us. It was like a dagger. She burst through a line of Vikings with a dagger.
Comes running up, I'm on my knees, I look up just in time to see her break through.
baseball bats.
Swing the guy, hit him right across the chest, right? So he flies back and he's like, ah! The spell's broken for me at that point. So I grab my dagger up and I just start like murder stabbing him. I'm going, ah! Screaming, murder stabbing him until he just dies. But nobody around me saw that. They're busy chasing her. So I'm able to crawl my ass back to the line and like hit people as I go by, like stab somebody who was stabbing one of my friends in the front line. I fall into the front line and they all pull me back and
Around
bring
the
me to a
same time
healer.
that she manages to loop around and fall
Yeah,
into
she was getting
our
her
line
ass
as well.
too by doing that. It was the bravest thing. From then on, I'm like, you are my bodyguard. You follow me everywhere, which is the funniest thing because she's following me around. And every time there's a fight, I'm like with my little daggers, like,
He
ah!
just throws himself
And I
into
throw
the front
myself-
line, and she just goes,
Really? I'm like, you're my bodyguard, protect me everywhere I go. And then
she's
it's-
like, yes, sir.
And then I immediately throw myself into danger. And she's like, really? She was funny stuff, man. But yeah, the battle was super duper epic. What was happening? What was happening on your side while I was in
Well, I was just
Cairo?
having a lovely night. I was homemaking, just cleaning stuff, organizing the tables, making it all look pretty, lighting some candles. And then, slowly but surely, the broken masses of our soldiers start trickling
Limping
into the
their way
camp.
through.
3 people wander in, like stroked with sweat and dirt. They're like, we got destroyed. Fox got captured. And I'm like, what? So I start making my way to the battlefield. Halfway there, I meet another ragtag group of people limping back toward our camp, and they're like, Fox got captured. And I'm like, I know. And they're like, did you know that whenever they capture them, they either kill them or mind control them and turn them against their friends? And I'm like, no, I did not know. Thank you for that information. I get to the battlefield, and I see you having already left the battlefield. And I'm like, walking up, I'm like,
Everybody. I didn't realize it at the time. She had everybody watching me in case I was mind controlled.
Yeah.
So like, which made a whole bunch of stuff in retrospect make sense. The way people are like talking to me and being like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah.
we're like waiting for the mind control like summon to kick
Me
in.
to get all killy.
Yeah.
That led to like our first night where, again, like our whole shtick was telling stories. So we wanted to make it a thing where people sat around the fire at the end of the night and like traded stories, right? And that first night, I was a little worried about it because it was very light around the fire. Like people were there, but it was very light around the fire. People were there, but it wasn't like what I was envisioning, right? Because the first night too, everyone's off doing stuff. There's a never-ending supply of things to do if you're one of those people who go out and look. And our people went out and looked, right? But then Dim, which I'm hoping we can find a picture of him. He's our resident alchemist. He's this big bird creature
He's a
thing.
scary bird man who's the sweetest bird man.
And it's super immersive. Like you start talking to like
The glowing
eyes after a little bit. Really, really cool. But he tells us that he was at
the southern Archon's court.
yeah. So the whole camp.
One of the
place
other
is huge.
kingdoms, one of
Yeah.
the old kingdoms, they're like the different seals. So he was at the southern court talking to the Archon and mentioned that he was from a camp run by Fae. And he's like, a camp run by Fae,
Not a
you
common
say?
thing. Yeah. So they were curious about us and were asking a lot of questions. So he came back to the camp. He's like, just so you know, they're asking a lot of questions about you and we're interested. And we're like, bet we're going to go over there.
So then we went.
We just went, we're like, made our own little emissary.
Heard you were asking questions.
Here
we
we
are. So he introduced us to the Fae of his court. So each of the seals also has one of the Fae seasonal courts attached to it. So for the south, it has the summer court, which was currently in power. But basically they transfer who's in charge based on what season it is. At this event was the transfer from summer to autumn. So we met the summer queen, and she invited us to tea.
To tea, to Fae tea.
Fae
Only
tea.
Fae, and they talk.
We had a lot of sweets, lovely coffee, got to learn a lot about the Fae, and then we got invited to basically the party that night, the celebration that would become the transfer of power from the Summer Queen to the Autumn King. And we also got a little bit into the Fae politics.
We've decided not to talk a lot about the in-depth politics because we're not really positive what is like inside knowledge or not, and that's a lot of their game, and we don't want to mess up their game. So we're going to only really lightly touch on any of that.
Basically, like, a big vote happened.
I will say it was kind of fun. We went to the party where the vote was supposed to happen, but that party was crashed by some people. They didn't want to witness any of that or know what was happening. So like, while we're all at this party, and it's kind of mixed, there's like humans and fays and whatever. All of the fays were like walking around to each other and being like, leave slowly and meet us at this place. We all slowly trickled out of the party, leaving the people we didn't want with like the humans and stuff, so that we can meet somewhere else and have the actual vote and stuff with just Faye doing it.
I like how it was very sneaky until we got lost.
Yeah,
all of the Fae didn't know where to go, including the people that decided to leave.
Which is so perfectly Fae. It's fantastic.
But this event started our new tradition, our new art form, as it were, where there was a mead and wine cellar near us that had a bunch of different flavors. And we would go to him and we're like, hey, we're going to a diplomatic meeting with this group. What is the most ironically clever flavor that matches that group? And he's like, you know, and then he'd give us a flavor.
Bless them for playing along as much as they did, too.
So for the Fae party, we brought some rose wine and some like date and balsamic mead. Right. So basically the most whimsical stuff he had.
For some of them, we dress up the bottles and like make them look good.
We also got some like candy-covered almonds. We just walked around to all the other people that were around and just went up to them with like bottles of liquor and a bowl of candied nuts. And they're like, would you like some of my nuts?
Yeah. Please partake in my nuts.
Would you like something to drink? Something to wash down my nuts? So, we were very good Fae.
Yeah, we were very, very good Fae.
No one would take my nuts because they thought that if they ate my nuts, then I would take their soul or something.
True, yeah. But this started what would be our actual game. So last time we went to Conquest, we were YouTubers at Conquest. Like we got to experience little bits and pieces, but we were very much like bent on making content. This time we were players, first and foremost. We had our own game we were playing. And our game was a very political game. We have people who need a home in this world. Like right now we're just a random encampment. We need a place that's going to be a steady place for us, a place that can grow. In order for that to happen, we have to
land.
So we got to hobnob with everybody who's situated.
We need allies, and we need the Dendronian name to mean something so that when the players of the camp go out into the world, they have that weight behind them. And we took that upon ourselves to like, that was our goal. So the politicking with the rest of the world outside the Fae kind of began at another tea party. This one was run by the Crimson Company, who, the commander of the Crimson Company.
He's so good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
So, if you ever get in good with the Crimson Company, get in good with the commander. He has the best rum that has ever existed.
And the way he describes it too, it's the most sensual you'll ever drink rum. He's like, you must please the rum like a woman.
Like, hold it in your mouth, breathe it in.
Use your tongue.
So he holds a tea party, but he hates water. Right. I'm convinced that it's some sort of curse, that he genuinely can't drink water.
Yeah, I don't think he can drink water. I think it's like poison to him.
Yeah, it's like poison to him. So instead of tea, everything is rum. It's a tea party.
And we all got to shoot guns there. So like guns are part of the world, and there are all these little blunderbuss. And they're caps. You know what I mean? So nobody's in danger or whatever. But like part of his party is everybody like, we understand most of you probably have never gotten to fire a gun before. So they had just guns set up where you can just go over and you're shooting guns and stuff.
So we got to shoot guns, talk to people, eat good food, and drink tea.
Drink tea. Well, we did politics, so we met a lot of people who later on we'd end up visiting like their courts and stuff because they're all kind of high in society people.
So some of the people we met, which partially like we were introduced to the High Diplomat of the Realm of Roses by our friend Callie, and some other people from the Realm of Roses were there. and they invited us. They invited us to a yearly gathering they have.
What do they do at this yearly gathering?
Well, they have some authors that spend a lot of hard time writing down intimate stories.
Smut!
Smut. They write a yearly smut, and then they perform it with puppets. The smut is, so far, seems to be about the people, the like rulers of the Realm of Roses. So then the rulers of the Realm of Roses read it, playing their own characters. The person that we got to know at the tea party was the narrator, and apparently none of them get to read the smut before they perform it, so they get to react real time as they're playing the characters. And all the puppets are custom made for the puppet show.
So funny.
It was wonderful.
So I had to miss a lot of it though because I had a prior engagement. So I come back at the very, very, very end.
And all you hear is Ramirez.
Ramirez. Flowers bloom. Anyways.
Speaking of.
Yeah, this is the arc. Oh, Ramirez. So she goes and gets a copy of the smut, and
I was given it by the narrator.
Yeah.
So that I could take it back to our camp and I could share it with our camp.
By then, by the way, I remember I said the first night was kind of light around the fire. After that, it got big. Like each night there was more people around the fire, even from other camps. Ramirez. Even from other camps. And people are just telling stories. He's a real person,
by the way.
100% a real person. If you're watching this, sup, Ramirez.
Sorry.
So we go to our fire, and there's a good group of people already there telling stories. And Maddie decides she's going to read the smut to the good people at the fire, which I'm like, hell yeah. I sit down, and the other fae creature who was in our camp, we called her a little cousin, because other fae. She's more of like a rapscallion of a fae, right? She's into mischief and whatever. Mm-hmm. She's like, here, Fox, I made you a drink. I'm like, why, thank you. I have a sip of it, and she gives me a piece of paper, and I'm reading it by the fire, and what said paper says is, I'm calling it poisoned. I have been poisoned by a potion that makes it so that at the end of every sentence, you have to say meow. So you have no choice at the end of every sentence.
And then I sit down next to him with my smut, and I'm like, I'm gonna read some smut.
And I'm like, would you like a drink, meow?
And I'm like, sure.
Everybody
what is it?
I'm like, it's just a tasty drink, meow. And she picks up on none of the meows.
I just came from a puppet show of smut. My weird rating is a little bit like oversaturated.
And I love like, other people at the fire.
I trust you implicitly.
Other people at the fire who have no idea what's happening. They don't know I've just been poisoned. Immediately, me offering her a drink, they're like, don't drink it. It's probably something wrong. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong, meow. And she's like, sure thing. It takes a sip. And I'm like, this is what just happened.
And I'm like, no! Meow.
So we proceed to read
the entire smut saying meow after every single sentence.
It was a thing.
So we got to it was apparently one of the longer smuts that has ever been written for this this reoccurring smut thing.
She felt the length of him against her. Meow. Say my name. Meow.
Ramirez. Meow. No. Say my real name. Meow.
Oh, damn.
Roses bloomed across the southern seal. Meow.
We did a very theatrical.
Yeah, so by the end of it, we genuinely had to stop ourselves from saying meow after every single sentence because it was so ingrained in us. It only stopped once someone told us to start saying in bed after every sentence instead, and it like broke the curse.
It did.
We would say all these different things. In bed.
The fire is so hot tonight. In bed. But like looking up from the story, because we were all just reading it or whatever, looking up from it, we had so many people around our fire. At one point, Bale, who we haven't talked about Bale yet, Bale is like our handler. Like for Bergschneider, he's the one who makes sure that anybody who's coming in, any influencers or whatever, are doing the right things, having a good time, able to get anything they need or whatever. So he comes as we're reading the smut.
Oh, was he there?
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
There was one moment where he stops by and goes, what the fuck? And then everybody laughs. And they go, Bale, 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 Bale. And then he immediately turned around and walked away.
Yeah, so you know
I think there was a point in which you're like, I take him into my mouth. And he's like, I'm leaving.
So, last year we made the joke of him being a Pokemon, and that's where the bail thing comes from.
Just him with his camera.
Because
Bail.
every event, we reach a point where we hit a wall of exhaustion.
Oh, Jesus, bail on a bike.
And something in us breaks. So this year it started with flip-flop. Like,
We're
there's
not
no
real people.
warning. We wake up, and I put my flip-flops on. I look at my feet, and I look up at Kit, and I'm like, flip-flop?
And I go, flip-flop.
And I go, flip-flop.
I go, flip-flop.
And that's all we say for the next hour and a half.
We decided that eventually we want to play goblins, whose name is Flip and Flop, and just everything we say is all just flip-flop, flip.
Flap.
We did that all the way towards breakfast.
We do it to the showers, back from the showers, on the way to breakfast, until we saw a man on a bike.
On a bicycle. Who looked...
That looked just like Bale.
We thought, we stopped and we go, we're in the middle of flip-flop, flip-flop. And I stop and go, is that Bale on a bike? And for some reason, the thought of Bale on a bike was
So funny.
It's still funny to me, and I don't know why.
It's just Bale on a bike, man.
So, out of nowhere,
fully formed,
I started singing a song to...
It came to both of us, unanimously.
The classic Dick in a Box was the melody.
That our brains chose.
Yep. The whole lyrics were like, 1, adjust the seat on that bike. 2, sit on that bike. 3, start to pedal that bike. It's a Bale on a bike.
And then for the rest of that day.
For
the rest of that week. For the rest of our lives.
We had people in camp singing it. Like, it became our new curse word. But like, Bale on a bike, I can't get this knot undone. Like, oh man, it was just that, you know when you get like that deliriously silly where it's dumb, but for some reason, man, it hits you at just the right spot.
It must have just been the reverbs of the previous night just leaching into the day.
Oh my God, it's still funny to me. That is
Bale on a bike.
Sorry, Bale. We love you so much.
Every time he's around us, he leaves like with some new chain tied to him of some joke that we've convinced our entire community to like.
Now we've just done it again. There's going to be a bunch of people who are Bale
on a bike.
It still gets me. Anyway.
So we managed to get our shit together enough that we spend the rest of the next couple of days politicking.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you though. There were a few times where we were in really serious meetings with really serious role players.
And we just go like...
Fucking Bale on a bike would come in my head and I'd be like, trying to behave myself, just... Oh, no. Anyways, but yeah, we politicked hard. We met with a bunch of people. We had some standout folks who became like really valuable.
Yeah, we sent out some missives basically to all the big groups in the area asking for times to meet them. And some of them bear fruit, some of them didn't. Mostly, some of the people that we sent to deliver them became entrenched in our political games.
Yeah, and we're good.
Yeah,
so good.
One of the major, like we talked about, one of the major goals was to find land for us to settle. And one of our players, Vincent, he made it his personal mission. It was almost hard to give him quests because he was so damn smart that we would give him a quest and he would come back and he's already solved the next 3 quests we would have given him.
We had some stock things we wanted to do, and like part of what we did going into it was like, what is our character's motivation? Because knowing those motivations, we can just send people like out on
to do things.
Yeah, out on quests without it being like a pre-planned thing. We're like, this is a thing we need in the world. This is how we think we can get it. Like, send you out to go get that thing. He came up and he's like, hey, is there anything you need me to do? And I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, can you find out about like, you know, this part of the world? We're looking for this type of thing.
And we're looking for some land to settle. Can you go
came back. Hold on. Let me get me some maps.
Yeah, the big maps over there. You have to pull the water bottles out. We put water bottles in it so that it wouldn't fold.
He came back with whole ass maps of the world, right? Already have.
Oh, careful.
Mike.
So like, I'm gonna tell the full story because it's even more impressive than this. So he came back with one of the leaders of the large groups of camps, well, the wolf of the Wayfinders, and he basically Wayfarers or Wayfinders?
I think Wayfarers.
Wayfarers.
Yeah.
And he came back, and Wolf, he was so impressed with Vincent that he just gave us a bunch of his really nice maps.
Really nice map.
Basically, Vincent starts his whole negotiations He finds out which pieces of lands are available, who owns them. The wolf gives us the bottle of liquor that's like the favorite liquor of the person who owns the land. Then Vincent goes and negotiates a time to meet with this person so that we can talk to them
and
about,
again,
like...
we've given him but one quest, and he comes over and he's like, I hope you don't mind, I took the liberty. And we're like, no, I don't mind at all.
Vincent, take more liberties.
It was impressive.
It was impressive. So basically, he arranges a meeting for us to talk to the people who own this land, which we're not going to say what the land is, because one of you may snipe it.
Don't snipe our land.
Don't snipe our land. We've decided which one we want to go for. We're very emotionally attached.
Yeah,
at this point.
we did a lot of figuring out like what would be a good like place for trade versus place we can defend with the new allies,
and like freedom versus security, like space to grow versus like already having established trade partners. It was a lot.
It was
of
a lot of politicking.
And we eventually decided on a place, but it was just this. It was super impressive to see just how much Vincent took it and ran with it. We'd get so enraptured with other things, and then he would just come up and he's like, I've scheduled some deals and I have all this information and I have the spelling of everything memorized, and I'm like, dear God, Vincent,
yeah, he
how do
even
you do this?
Write stuff down.
He wouldn't write anything down. He would just come and verbatim tell you everything, including the spelling.
Saying, really impressive, dude.
So one of the things that he did was Wolf, I don't know why I suddenly don't remember the full name of it. Wolf had arranged a meeting with the Black Dynasty, which is basically one of the enemy factions. So the Dragonfly Queen, their main diplomat, and their seer came to their camp, to Wolf's camp, to basically hold an open forum where they would answer any sort of questions about the Black Dynasty to foster understanding. I got to be part of the open forum and kind of able to understand the Black Dynasty. At the same time,
I was going to visit the undead flesh, who are these good folks. So the reason this was happening, we had some fantastic players come up to us and they were like, hey, we recently got into a meeting with the undead flesh, and we think that if you're interested, we could get you in as well. So I'm like, yeah, I will do this thing. And they're like, cool, let me know when, because it's kind of a time crunch. We got into super politicking. I left them out to dry too long, and it made the undead flesh mad. So it took one of their hands. They're in front of the camp, and one has just one hand, and the other is pissed. Where were you? You said you would come, and they took his hand because you didn't come. And I'm like, ah, shit. Being my Fae person, though, I'm like, that's... Please tell the story of how this thing happened. So they're like, you've got to fix this. I'm like, okay, when can we go? And I'll try to negotiate for your hand back.
Cue finding mead that's very thematically appropriate again. For the Dragonfly Queen, who's known for kind of making people fall in love with her, and then like taking the emotion of love and then giving it to the prince, I got the Black Widow mead to give to her, because it's also black, and it's the Black Dynasty, so a lot of their costuming is black. And then for the undead flesh,
we got this really nice red, like a blood something wine. We did a whole ritual to make it basically something that could slow down the rotting of their flesh. So the story of them, back in the day, they were like normal people or whatever. Death was the only thing really hindering them. I'm probably going to butcher it, but basically they were able to live forever. But one of their gods didn't like that because it threw things off balance. So it's like, cool, you get to live forever, but you're going to rot. Like, they're basically corpses, right? Their body rots slowly. Now
they like to take fresh pieces from living people to replace those rotting bits.
There's people who will, like, negotiate with them and be like, I'll give you my kneecap if you give me a thing, right?
Because there is magic in the world that you can regrow your kneecaps.
Right.
Not necessarily easily or painlessly, but...
So originally I was looking for a hand. I was looking for so they took his hand. I was like, I'm gonna find another hand out in the world and trade it for them, like a nicer hand. But like at last minute, so hard to find a hand last minute. A severed human hand, it was very difficult to find. So we made this wine after doing a whole ritual. We made it so that it slowed down the rotting process. You know, it was kind of like a penny saved is a penny earned, right?
We sealed it with like silver and wax for like purification and like petrification.
Threw a bunch of
runes on it.
Whole big thing. So we go to visit the undead flesh. They have a tent of like stitchers, basically, who are the ones who will take limbs and put limbs on whatever. And there's somebody there who is giving up some of his like internal organs for there are these cards that you can buy. They're the Frivolita cards.
Which are basically the cards we mentioned last time, which are the smut cards of people in the game.
Really great art. We'll link to the artist. But so for one of those cards, he's giving up some of his guts. And the role play and just the being in it. So you're in this little tent that has like bones and hands and stuff. And you have these people in like they're falling apart. There's stitches all over them. Part of their face is missing or whatever. And this guy's on the table and they put this thing over him that like, it just looks like a thing covering him, but it has like a little pocket inside. But from the outside, like they take a scalpel and they cut. And then their hand reaches in and just disappears in what looks like his stomach. And they start pulling out like guts. And the guy who's doing it, he's role-playing too. So he's screaming and they're trying to hold him down and stop him from doing stuff. And they're pulling his guts out and they're looking at it and deciding which ones they want to keep and whatever. And at the end, they're like, this is what you want? And they hold up a card and he's like, yes. And he's like, good. And he sticks it back inside of his stomach and then sews him up. So he has to figure out how to get it back. So these are the people I'm meeting with. That being said, they were friggin' delightful because that gift, they really appreciated that gift. They're like, this is an extremely thoughtful gift. Like slowing down the rotting process makes it so that we can last a little bit longer. And all I was asking for was a story. He's telling the story as somebody else is getting something removed from them. So there's just somebody behind me screaming as they're getting things like limbs cut off of them or whatever.
I love him telling it to me where he's basically like, he gave them this really nice gift. And they're like, wow, thank you so much. Before that and after that, to everyone else, they're like, I don't care if you live or die.
Yeah.
Die, settlers. Have a nice day.
Yeah. So thoughtful of a gift, though. So yeah, it was such a cool experience. At the end, we negotiated to get this guy's hand back. And he, again, they have him laying down on the table, and they take a hand, and they have like a selection of hands, and they're seeing which one fits.
They're like, which one was it again?
They go at first, they put on one, and like his right hand was cut off, and they give him another left hand, and they're like, the thumbs are facing the same way, but it should be fine. He's like, no, I want the right hand. And they're like, fine. They're going through their hand pile, they find the right one. They're like, it's a little bit smaller, but it'll be all right. You'll grow into it. The whole thing was so, you're like in it, and the setting is so good that you straight up forget that you're playing. Like it's really, really cool. So that was a fun adventure. That's what I was doing while she was politicking. It was really, really cool.
So another group that Kelly introduced us to was, she had some friends in the Mercenaries, which are a neutral group, a very large neutral group that's basically like all the different mercenary groups that found that they worked better together, eventually banded together underneath one banner. So earlier on, as our fireside stories were getting more popular, two of the mercenaries came. One was a corpseologist. So they came and they told a bunch of stories. And then later on, we went to their camp and we met their librarian, who happened to also be one of their leaders. And we got to kind of negotiate a bit of like an informal alliance with them, where next year we're gonna pay them to come and like train a lot of people in different types of weapons and different types of like techniques and such.
Solve our problem of the front line falling apart and all that kind of jazz.
And also just in general, like, we eventually brought them a very good mead, which was, so their symbol is, I think, a
golden coin on a red background.
Yeah, so it's a gold
coin.
Basically, it's a blood coin, like a blood background with a golden coin, like, because they're mercenaries, you pay for their services, which are normally blood related.
And there's a whole other story that goes along with it. But
gold in that world is extremely rare. Copper is what is mainly what you deal with. Silver, some people won't even accept it. It's sometimes 10 copper, sometimes like more of a show of wealth. Gold is, you don't pay with gold. You see someone with gold and it's very much a show of wealth.
Yeah.
So we decided, because it was one of the last political things we did, we had a few gold and we decided to take a red mead and we wax sealed a gold coin on it, and then we gave it to her as a gift, the librarian. And she's like, thank you very much. And she's looking at it and talking to us, and you see her catch the gold.
She goes, oh. Or like, for future relationships.
later on, they have the last night of the game, they come to our party, and they bring probably one of the most thoughtful gifts that we got at the event.
Yeah.
So they understood that we cared a lot about stories. So they brought us something that was heavily tied to a story. Earlier on in their like existence as the mercenaries, they had a like head of their surgeons, which I think they call them butchers.
Yeah, they call their surgeons butchers.
So he was a very, like, he had these white poofy pants. Most people kind of didn't expect any sort of violence from him. And then one day the undead flesh ambushed their camp in the middle of while they were making soup. And if I get any details wrong, it was the last night of the last day, and I was so tired that I was genuinely struggling, and drinking. I was genuinely struggling to keep my eyes open. But it was still one of the sweetest gifts that we've received just in general. So basically, one of the undead flesh managed to, like, they were knocked down so people thought that they were dead, but then they got back up and they ran and managed to get at the head healer, butcher. Sorry. So he pulls like a double-barrel shotgun out of his pants and shoots him dead.
Real casual, like, just like, boom. But I guess the fun part of the story is he's had these pants, and they've been playing for like 4 years or something at that point, and he's always been there. And then nobody knew he had this big-ass shotgun just hidden in his pants, and this was like, he had been waiting this whole time to be able to use these things.
And he just really casually shoots
casual
a dude,
like,
and then just goes back to his job.
And he goes back to doing his thing.
And it was so amazing that an artist that was on scene drew it.
Yeah.
And then the librarian bought the piece of art, and that's what they gave to us as the gift, is they gave us that piece of art and then told us the story that was associated with it. They also gave us, I don't know if I have it here. I don't. Oh, they also gave us a book, which was basically all the different terms in the game translated to English. So it was like 2 different sides of super thoughtful.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. That whole last night was cool. It was almost like scenes from when you're about to die and everybody you've ever met is there. Like,
oh yeah, because everyone was like coming into our camp.
Yeah, it's like everybody we met along the way and had dealings with that last day decided they wanted to come to our camp and just say hi and like stop by at our fire and whatever.
Like in the end, we started a lot of diplomatic relations with the Crimson Company and the Commander.
Yeah.
We got to try a lot of really good rum. We got to be introduced to the Black Dynasty and the Undead Flesh. We got introduced to the civilian leader of the Wayfarers, Wolf, and then through him got introduced to the I heard it translated a couple different ways, but I think it's Seafarers. It's basically like the Sea Captain Guild or something. Their names in German, but people translate it different ways. We got introduced to them. We got to meet all the different people of the Realm of Roses and their lovely smut puppet.
Lovely smut puppet.
But also, we got to get to know them a little bit more because they had some Fae and some Fae touch that were more similar to our type of Fae than we had met. So we got to spend a lot of time with that group in the Realm of Roses talking about how if we could learn from them how they tap into their magic in this world, we might eventually learn how to tap into our magic beyond stories. Because now we live in a world with magic. We made some plans with them.
Yup, we got plans on plans on plans on plans on plans. Meanwhile, like, there's so many little vignettes. The coolest thing about, like, a LARP is while you're playing your story, everybody else is playing their own story. Like, we have these two criminals who are at our camp, Ark and Alice, who are the funniest.
They're entrepreneurs.
Oh my god, they're so good. The thing is, they're such good thieves. So we'll hear a little.
This is only their second game as well.
Well, we're sitting.
They're just naturals, which is worrying.
It's one of those things where you'll see them and you don't know everything that's going on because they won't tell you until afterwards. They'll share the story maybe with us, maybe. So they're sitting at the camp and Ark has binoculars and he's watching the hospital across the street. At one point, I'm running about my business and I hear him ask her, like, do you know where my bloody bandages are? And I'm thinking, because he's like English, his bloody bandages. No, they're his bloody bandages.
Because they're going to heist the hospital.
They're gonna heist the hospital. He goes in playing it up like he's hurt, and she's helping him in. Like I've got...
Like infirm, like He's near death.
Yeah, so the hospital like puts him on the table there and whatever. They go out to get more of like bandages and medicine. Immediately, Alice turns around and picks the safe, like immediately.
Then, like so fast that the safe doesn't close correctly. So they go back to like pat his face and stuff, and the nurse comes back in.
Well, I guess at that point, no, she left. She grabbed what she needed and she bounced. But then the doctor that they had come in,
kicked the safe.
He came in and like he's playing it up because he's trying to distract the doctor so that they don't look at the safe that's open. So he's like, ah, it hurts. Meanwhile, he's motioning over like, shut the safe. So the other doctor goes over and he like kicks it shut.
Loudly.
But it doesn't shut. It swings back open again. So he screams louder. So he kicks the safe again to shut it. And then they walk outside. Like just as he's walking out, Alice is coming back, having handed off the prize to the person who paid for it or whatever. And then just like he walks out like he's summoning stuff. And as soon as they're out of sight of the hospital, it's like, woo! They're such good thieves, but everybody has these little things that are happening like that while you're out doing your own crap.
So like there was 50 people in our camp. Every single one of them had stories by the end of the day.
Yeah, everybody is just constantly doing stuff and making such amazing stories that when we do have time to sit around, it's kind of where our fire got cool because people are talking about the things
they
they
literally
did.
stole all the benches from the other fire so they could all fit around one fire. So there were 6 benches around one fire. Our camp was pretty amazing. We could spend a whole series of videos talking about not only the little stories that we don't have time to talk about from our side, but also just the infinite amount of stories that 40 like something other people had around us.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Conquest is pretty amazing in that way. We're honestly super amazed with how amazing the camp turned out.
Yeah, and not just our own community, like you are all amazing, but the players in general in Conquest. Like everybody is game to play with you. When you first start LARPing and stuff, there's always this weird feeling of like, oh, I'm gonna feel awkward and if people aren't gonna wanna like engage with me, I'm gonna feel stupid. Never. Every single person we bumped into wants to play and they're so good at it. So not only was the players incredible, but I need to give a giant shout out to Bergschneider and everybody who helped us. I mean, from the beginning when we're freaking out about our packages being lost and like they're in the middle of, I have some footage that I will flash across the screen here.
It's an amazingly large.
Yeah, the back side of this, where they're preparing all the props, like all the people who make the cool stuff to set the scene, all of the people who kind of get the game going and plan out all the pieces to it, all the NPCs who make sure people are safe and the game to play. All of these people, they work so incredibly hard.
And because it was Moto Dia last year, they put permanent cisterns in.
Yeah.
They dug ditches preemptively. Like they took such measures to make sure that the game ran as smoothly as possible.
They spent an egregious amount of money on like wood chips in case it rained so it wouldn't get muddy on them. Like they didn't even end up really needing all that much once it all dried out, but they did it to make sure, just so that the same thing didn't happen last year.
The mud was never a problem.
They
It
plan
rained
everything.
a few times, but it was never like they had planned it so well that we never even noticed.
As a business, like they're 100% more concerned with the players having a good time than they are with profit, because they definitely spent like a lot of money to make sure that everybody would have a fun, safe time no matter what the weather was.
And special shout out to Bale.
Oh,
because,
like, absolutely.
He always finds time to make sure that we're taken care of.
Yeah, I feel bad because we not just us, I mean, there's other people there who are, people will come from news outlets or other creators will come, like, and they want to see it, and that's part of his job is making sure that goes smoothly. But, like, man, he totally pulls out all the stops to make sure our people are safe and comfortable, solving problems constantly with us, like, whiny foreigners, like, we really appreciate everything you did for us. So yeah, that was our adventure. I hope you enjoyed it.
Next year.
Yeah.
So this year, this camp went so well.
Right.
And we announced it late.
Yep.
We still reached 50 people.
Yep.
And it was still amazing.
Right.
This year, we're going to announce our camp in the upcoming, soon.
Yeah.
And our goal is to reach 200 people.
That's what we're hoping for. That's our what our 50 was this time. It's our stretch goal, right? If we're around a 150.
I think our stretch goal is like 250.
If you are interested, I would say, like, we're gonna be saying it early. You'll have a good most of a year to be able to save up for it if you want to. Even if it's the only time you go, it is such an experience.
From the experiences of like myself, I haven't really gone to other countries very often. And from the other people that went last year and this year, it's a chance to go to a different country, to have a wonderful experience, and to not be alone with it. Like, you have the support of the entire camp, of us, of Berschneider, to make sure that everything goes as wonderfully as possible. Yeah. Like, Bale drove us all to the train station. He taught us how to press the button that opens the doors of the train. Yeah. He bought us the tickets in German. Like,
he really took care of us.
He really took care of us. If the fear of going is what prevents you, know that this is a chance to go do something amazing with a bunch of other people who want nothing more than to support you so that you can, like, I want people to have the same amazing experience that we have for just the sake of it, of them experiencing it.
There are so many different experiences you can have. It's Skyrim in real life. Mm-hmm. Like, it is the closest I think you can ever get to living out like a D&D style adventure. Like, it's just a whole other thing. So yeah, if at all you're interested, I super highly recommend you checking it out. It is incredible. And if it is something that isn't in the cards for you or whatever, we're hoping to do it for years to come. But I highly recommend you check out any local LARPs or something. They're not going to be as like grand and sweeping, but like local LARPs are dope too. Just get into the hobby if you're interested, because man, it's really great.
And hopefully we can eventually run something in the States.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
Wink.
Nudge. But yeah, we really hope to see anyone and everyone come tell us their story at Conquest.
For sure. Yeah, if you were at Conquest, give us a story in the comments. I really want to hear it.
Remember, we got to get to that 200 and potentially 250. Convince them in the comments.
The Dendronia will be a power. I hope you liked this content. It was a lot of fun to make, and it was a lot of fun to have the experience for it. If you did, again, leave in the comment section below about it. And don't forget to give us some of that like it love and the thumbs up and subscribe and all that kind of jazz. What?
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 You looked at me expectantly.
It's late.
Yeah, we did just fly back from Germany. Then we put on all our makeup and costume again because some people want to see us in our costumes.
Oh my God. Yeah, so until next time, obviously next week will be our regularly scheduled programs. But yeah, I hope you guys get to have an adventure in the meantime too.
I think this was genuinely one of my favorite.
We got to actually play.
Like, in a way that we haven't before. It was such like a massive immersive world. It was the LARP experience that
we've always wanted.
We've always wanted and never really knew that we hadn't quite reached those heights yet.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for us. We're gonna go to sleep now. But in the meantime,
keep leveling up, you.